Okay.
Perfect.
Well, I will, I guess I'll start by introducing myself. Yeah.
David, audio. Sometimes you can hang up and add. Oh, good. He's got it. Check. Awesome.
Okay, great.
Thank you for working so hard for that, David. Welcome.
All right. So, welcome everybody to our workshop. And my name is Zach Veers. I'm the clinic owner here in Seattle. Co-hosting with me is Kelly. She'll introduce herself in a minute, but just a quick background about me, how I got into this, and where I'm at. I actually started. Well, I first learned about Egoscue in college. So I studied exercise sciences. I did some personal training. I ended up getting my master's degree in that field. But I learned about Egoscue from a professor of mine. And at the time, I really liked the idea, this concept of using exercises and stretches to correct body alignment and helping people live active, pain-free lives naturally was really appealing. But I just thought it was something that old people needed. So I was like 20 something and thought I was invincible. So it was like, oh yeah, this would be great for my old clients. Well, turns out I started having a lot of shoulder and back problems myself when I played. I was playing a lot of racquetball in grad school. And so I thought, well, maybe I should give this Egoscue stuff a shot. And sure enough, my professor helped me kind of understand what was going on and with my posture and how that was related to my pain, and gave me some exercises, and I started doing them, and right away felt improvements, and it kept me on the courts. And so I was really happy with that. And so I decided I wanted to pursue that as a career and help other people do the same thing. So I got certified, found a job in Portland working with Kelly and her husband Martin, the owners of the clinic down there. So I worked there for a little while, got some more experience and training, and then opened up my own practice here in Seattle, actually 7 years ago to the week almost. And so I've been here for 7 years now, and still practice Egoscue myself. It's something that I do as part of my daily routine to keep me feeling good and active. And I've got two little kids now, a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, so got to keep up with them, So yeah, that's me. Kelly, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, yes. So welcome and happy Thursday and happy new year, new you. We're excited to have you guys here today. I feel like we've, put a compilation of things together here, top 5 things that over the last 20 years, I've heard clients say over and over again, or I've taught clients over and over again about how to get the most out of your exercises and out of your body, and your routine that you're doing to keep yourself healthy and well and in alignment. You know, I was gifted with the knowing and of Egoscue, almost 20 years ago. And to this day, it is the thing that keeps me thriving and going and being able to do the things that I want to do, hike and work out and be with my kids and, you know, go jump on the trampolines and do all the things, without any pain or limitations. So, and it's helped me, recover from like car accidents or when I, had an accident where I broke my ankle, me versus the PVC pipe, and I know that I would not be where I'm at today physically, had I not had the tools of Egoscue that I've used day in and day out for 20 plus years. It's who I am, it's what I do, and it is what I believe because it's provided for myself and thousands of clients for 20 years. So I'm just so grateful for the method every day, every week, and looking forward to sharing, some tips and tricks that just, keep me going and my clients going day in and day out, year after year, because this is a lifestyle. It is a quick fix and it's a lifestyle. It is the long-term solution to muscular health. And I think that that's really important for us to think about when we're going into the new year, into the new us, that, when we're thirsty, we take a drink. When we're hungry, we eat. When we're in pain, suffering's optional. Do your exercises, get into your body, feel what's going on. Use your tools. It's equally as important. It's is what we're designed to do. We're a movement machine. from head to toe. So, so yeah, I'm excited to share these tips and tricks with you, and we're going to do some assessment along the way and some exercises along the way, and I'll be kind of popcorning around and asking questions too. So feel free to answer and chime in and write in your questions in the chat, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So topic we kind of came up with, we narrowed it down. There's lots of things we could have talked about today, as far as there's a lot of important things that go into maintaining, pain-free active lifestyle, obviously, but we're just focusing on in regards to Egoscue. So, what we do, what are kind of the top 5 things that we've seen hundreds and thousands of clients that are successful in overcoming their pain and staying out of pain and living that kind of long-term active lifestyle. These are kind of the things that they have in common, I think. And so we just wanted to share those with you. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I'll let Kelly take the lead here, but tip number 1 is be present and mindful.
Yeah, so I remember when I worked for Pete at the San Diego office, in the corporate office, so a long time ago, almost 20 years now, I can't even believe that. But I just remember him saying to my clients, as they were doing their exercises on the floor, be present in your exercises, be present in your exercises. And I think that, still I can hear that in my mind, and I can hear that coming through with my clients every day. I think it's really easy with our lives being so busy and so full of doing that we forget about the being and being present and mindful when we're doing our exercises. We need to know, well, how does our body feel, when we start, as we're doing the exercises, and do a check-in at the end. How do we feel after the exercises? Did our exercises give us results and success? Did our alignment and posture shift? I mean, yes, our pain, but first and foremost, before the pain can even consider to, go away or transform, we have to change the alignment and the balance in the body. So the most important thing to do is really start your exercises with, taking a couple seconds to take 3 to 5 breaths, and let's do that together. Let's close our eyes and take some big deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, and really rise and fall that belly. Do those belly breaths. So let's do that now. And you don't have to close your eyes. You can keep them open. You can put your feet flat on the floor. You can stand up. Get a sense of well, where are you in your body? Where is your weight distribution in your butt bones in your chair? Or even standing, where is the weight distribution in your feet? So take those deep breaths and kind of sink into that body.
Yeah, this is something I like to do really at the beginning of every session with people, because to get that kind of before and after, because it's really easy for people to, just they get so used to being in pain that they just think, oh yeah, it hurts. Well, I don't know. You have to get a little more focused than that and pay attention. And sometimes people don't even realize when they do feel better, because they're just so used, they just assume that they're going to hurt. And so until you actually, assess and put words to it, or, so, but I like to have people stand up, and you can do it barefoot or with shoes on is fine, but generally barefoot is, you can feel more. And just get a sense of where the weight is on your feet. So if we can all do that right now, if you don't mind standing up, I think that would be good, right, Kelly?
Oh yeah, standing or sitting in your chair. Yeah, depending on what level of pain you might be in or limitation you have today. Yeah.
So if you just put your feet wherever they feel natural for you, you don't have to look at them, but just stand normal, relax. And as you breathe, just notice what you're feeling on the bottoms of your feet. Specifically, where's the pressure? Does it feel this? First of all, does it feel the same on right and left foot? Maybe you feel heavier on one side. Maybe you feel like more on the front of your foot, or more on the back on the heel. You might feel more collapsed in, like on the inside edge of your foot, or maybe you're kind of more on the outside edge. So just no right or wrong here, just making a note of what you feel. But anybody care to share what they're feeling right now as they stand there, where the pressure is on their feet? How about you, Patrick?
I feel the pressure. This is David. I feel the pressure somewhat equal, but I have still a little pain in my right hip when I do that, trying to relax.
Okay, good. Assessment.
Yeah.
Outside edge. Shelly, outside edge, bilateral, good. Okay. Anybody feel something different on their right side than their left? I do. I feel a little more heavy on my left inside edge. So just make a mental note of that. We'll revisit that later.
Yeah, it's a good point to just write that down on a little piece of paper, make a mental note before you start your exercises. And then doing that assessment again later. We're going to do that again later. So that's a tool that you can use anytime, anywhere to help you be mindful and present, tune in, turn on, tap into your body, find out what's going on. Where is my weight distribution? You know? And David, like, he got into his body and then he was like, oh, this is what's happening. I feel fairly even. But I'm definitely feeling my hip pain. Okay, let's go beyond the pain. What, in the bottom of those feet, where do you feel that weight? Is it closer to the toes or the heels or the inside edges or the outside edges? Is it heavier on one foot versus the other? That's all great information, not only for you, but for us as therapists when you're coming in and you're working with us one-on-one, because that lets us know, well, where are your muscle imbalances? How is your body out of alignment? And it gives us clues into how to start, transforming that through exercises. And the breath work, that breathing, that inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and the rising of the belly and the falling, using that diaphragmatic breathing, or that belly breathing is what you call it, is something that you can use throughout your exercises. It actually gives you more quicker results and more success, because if you can breathe through your exercises, you're going to get a whole lot of oxygen to the brain and the muscle tissues, and you're going to help those muscles transform and shift the bones into a better position by breathing through those exercises. The biggest question to ask is, well, what does my body need? Obviously David's like, okay, well, it needs some pain relief in that right hip, but more so like, well, is the hip tight? Does it need to be stretched? Does it feel weak? Does it feel unstable? Putting words to your pain and to your limitations is really important, because that helps give you a roadmap to, well, what type of exercises do you need to do in order to shift the posture and gain more function in your body over time. And this little assessment is so important because it helps you to know whether or not your exercises are successful and doing their job. Is the proof in the pudding? Like, if you're assessing your posture and your weight distribution before you do your exercises, then you go through your exercises mindfully and breathe, and then you can get up between exercises and take a walk, see how it feels after each exercise. Then when you're done with your set of exercises, do another self-assessment. And did it measure up? Did your posture change? Did your weight distribution change? Is there more ease of movement? Is there more function? Can you do something a little easier, like put on your shoe that you couldn't before? Those types of things. So, that's really what the self-assessment is for, and why we teach it, is to really put you in that driver's seat and empowered with a basic tool to help you know, well, am I making success? Am I having success and results with the exercises that I have and that I'm doing currently right here, right now, in my situation, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tip number 2 is consistency.
Ooh, that kind of sounds like a dirty word, but it's really not. Right? Consistency. Oh man. But I think the one thing that consistency has taught me over the years is, for sure, like, every body is different, right? Like when people come in, I think that they have like an expectation that the therapists think that they should do their exercises 7 days a week. And that it should look a certain way, or they should like there's no expectation from us other than, well, you've got to do them consistently. And here's why, right? At some level, because muscularly, in order to shift the posture that you've created over time, your posture is a snapshot in time of everything you've done up until now and that you've taken in from your environment. So your muscles hold your bones in the position that they're in because that's how you've trained them to hold those bones in that position through exercises, lifestyle, activities, habits, all the things that you do during your life create the posture that you're in. So in order to shift into a new posture paradigm and gain more alignment and balance, you've got to train the muscles muscularly over and over again to shift to the new position, the new habit. I use this analogy all the time with clients, and it makes so much sense. If a concert pianist, you go to the show and you're watching them on stage and they're sitting there and they're playing that song up on the stage and they're just ripping through that music, and they don't really need the music because they've trained the muscle memory into the fingers and into the body. But when you put a new set of music onto the piano and they're starting to learn a new song, they've got to learn and build that muscle memory into the body, into the brain, into the muscles, back to the muscles, back to the brain, right? So the same thing with Egoscue is every time you get a new set of exercises or you're training a new habit or a new posture into the body, you've got to be consistent to the point where those exercises are, they feel comfortable and you can do them. You don't have to think so hard to do them from beginning to end or hold them. And the consistency, remember, it builds on itself. So day one makes day two a little easier, and 3 and 4, the exercises compound on each other. So when you're having a flare up, it's just important, hey, do those exercises more consistently during that time to, keep down the inflammation and get out of that flare up, and then see if you can go back to however many days of the week you were doing it before that kept you, optimal. And I think everybody's optimal point is different. Nobody knows how many days a week I need to do my exercises to keep my body optimal. And I don't know what yours is. You have to figure that out. Like if you're, really chronic and have a lot of pain, you may even need to do your exercises 2 or 3 times a day. If you're not, you're really active and you're working out and, your posture's being supported by like more total body movement and workout, then maybe you need to do shorter before and after programs for your workouts, or a few days a week doing the tower. I mean, things are so customizable to the individual. And that's where we as therapists help you kind of build that language and look at your movement history throughout the week, and help you figure out, okay, when is the optimal time for you to do your exercises, which ones here or there throughout the week in between your different activities. So those are conversations we have with clients all the time. Because at first you may not know, and you just need to dialogue and talk that out and lay it out on paper per se, and kind of say, here's what I'm doing. Here's the intervals where I need the support. And your body will always tell you when you need to do the exercises because it'll give you feedback. It'll give you soreness, pain, achy, you're feeling unbalanced, you're not feeling stable, all the things. So feeling into your body, that present mindful piece, leads right into consistency, and what that will look like for you.
Yeah. I think most people, when they're first starting out, we try to, we're building a new habit, right? If they've never done it before. So it's good to, I always try to get people to do it every day, just knowing, everybody's going to miss a day here and there, but I think it's easier to start a habit when you're doing it every day, at least once, right? So, and then, we modify from there, and depending on the day and what their schedule is like. Some people are good with doing it various times during the day. Some people need the consistency of just, oh, every morning it's the first thing I do, or, maybe it's something I do right after I get home from work or whatever, just whatever it takes to make it work for you and be consistent, because you're not going to get the results if you're, kind of just doing it hit and miss, right? So your body needs that consistency. So
the best menu is the one that gets done. That's what
yeah, exactly.
Oh, and here's another thing too is, people have exercises, let's say 1 through 10. And you, as long as you're consistent with 1 through 10 throughout the week, that's what counts, right? So let's say you only have time on Monday to do 1 through 5, and then on Tuesday you do 6 through 10. Well, then on Wednesday do 1 through 5, and then 6 through 10. Cycle through all of the exercises, but every other day. You can do half in the morning, half at night. You can do half every other day. You can do some in the morning, some at night. I mean, there's a lot of gray. It's not black and white. The body just needs the consistency and the repetition to change the form and the function.
Speaking of that, what we're trying to achieve here, we're talking about posture, and so just to review kind of what that means, we've got we call him Function Freddy here. This is an example of what ideal posture is and what the potential we have if everything is balanced. So we've got those load bearing joints, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and ankles, one on each side. And then, so they should stack up vertically. So, top to bottom. Shoulders are generally a little broader than the other joints, but they're centered. So we've got that line going down the middle, showing that there's 2 equal sides, right? So, and that's why when you're checking the weight distribution in your feet, it should feel the same on the right and the left, right? It should bear the same amount of weight on both sides. And we also have horizontal alignment. So the shoulders should be level with each other. The hips should be level with each other. So that's the 90-degree angles. That's what we mean there is, horizontal and vertical. Feet pointed straight ahead, knees pointed straight ahead. Another thing, we'll be looking at some photos here in a second, but another easy way to assess the shoulder position is just look at your hands. So notice in this example, his hands are resting at the sides so that we really only see the thumb and first finger. But what you'll notice on most people that have rounded shoulders, the arms tend to turn inward. So then from the front, you'll start to see the backs of the hands, your knuckles will be visible. So that's something that you can look for if you're looking in a mirror, just stand relaxed and look down at your hands and see where they're resting. And that will tell you a lot about your shoulders. And then the side view is pretty similar. We've got those load bearing joints, the ankle, the knee, the hip, the shoulder, and then also the ear. So the hole in your ear should line up there on that line. So that's just showing proper vertical alignment. So, and that's all controlled by muscles. Without muscles, or if your muscles relax, you would just collapse, right? So what's holding you up is basically muscle tension. And so when everything is balanced, everything's working the way it should, that's how your body should stack up. And if it's not, it's just because, like Kelly said, your muscles have been trained to do something different, and that's why your posture is different. So.
Mm-hmm. And
Right.
your first clue in is just looking at yourself in the mirror or doing that self-assessment. That's your first clue into, building a plan for yourself and investigating. Always be open and curious to what your body's trying to show you and tell you, because it's so powerful and all the answers are there.
Yeah. So we'll, we won't put any view on the spot here, but we'll look at a real client of mine who, this was his first set of photos, and we take pictures like this with everybody. We'll put a line on there so we can see how it stacks up vertically, horizontally. So this is the part where everybody participates. So you can either type something in the chat or unmute yourself and just point out anything that you notice about his posture that looks different, compared to this. What's going on with his posture? What do we see? Or is he perfect? I don't think he is.
Well, and how might that relate to you too? Like, when you look in the mirror, do you see something similar?
I don't know if David, you're trying to talk to us. You're muted.
Okay, I mean, you can see him. He's not a straight line from his ankles to his ear. Looks like he's weighted to the left.
Mhm.
His hands are somewhat turned out, as you said. You
Yeah.
can see part of the back of his hand.
Yep. Good. So yeah, he's definitely, this line is centered at his ankles at the bottom, right? But you can see even by the time we get to his knees, he's not centered anymore. So his whole body is just shifting to his left. And then the side view, like you said, is his ears really far forward from that line. And that's not just a problem with his neck, because if we look down the rest of the body, once again, the hips are in front of the line where they should be. His shoulders are forward. So it's just everything is kind of, we would expect him to probably feel more weight on the front of his feet, right? And probably more on his left, right? Good. Anybody else see anything else? Do it from the front there. Does do his shoulders and hips look level, like horizontal alignment? No. This one's a bit higher, right? His left shoulder's a bit higher, and it looks like his right hip is a bit higher. So that's pretty common dysfunction we see, or compensation, where the hips and the shoulders, they work together. So when one side is dysfunctional somehow, maybe it's kind of stuck tight, and it could be the hip or the shoulder, but they're going to respond to each other. So usually when one hip is out of position, the opposite shoulder will adjust for that. Or it could be the same side, but oftentimes they work in that cross pattern. So yeah. All right. Well, this is how he looked a couple months later. So what changed other than his outfit?
Looks like he was consistent to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously better. But specifically, like, what changed about his body?
Ears to ankles are in a straight line. Looks like he's level with his hips and level with his shoulders. His hands are a little bit, but still, you can still see a little bit of the backside of his hands. It's not quite exactly
Yeah.
just and something. So, but it's much better, obviously.
Yeah, right. So,
and I think it's important to note that you don't have to look like Function Freddy and have perfect posture in order to get results and have success and feel better.
right.
The body just needs the reminder of, hey, what is it supposed to do and how is it supposed to do it differently than you had been doing that before.
Yeah. So just to show a couple other examples of some people that made some, great improvements. This lady from our, actually one of the clinics in Japan sent this over, and pretty extreme example, but I like it because it just shows how even in an extreme posture like this, where you might think, oh, well, that's like pretty bad, right? Like, is there even hope for her, right? And obviously there is, right? This shows, once again, she's not perfect by any means, but just imagine how much better she's going to feel. Imagine the stress on her back, and I mean, her organs, like, I don't know how she was breathing in that position, honestly, right?
Wow.
So collapsed in, her gut, her digestive system's probably not great. So anyway, just shows how it's all controlled by muscles, as long as put in the work, do the consistent effort, you can change that.
You can even look in that one real quick, look at her face in the pictures above, how tired she looks and how much older she looks, how much energy she's expending holding that posture up all day. When your body is using the wrong muscles to do things, it's tiring. It's exhausting. Your body and your brain have to work really hard to do basic movements. And then if you look down below her face, she's smiling, she's brighter, she's lighter, she has more, you can tell she's freed up so much actual energy in the body to do normal day life and things. So I think that's really important to note.
Yeah, good point. So a couple other examples just showing, this is something that affects us at all ages, right? So this guy's pretty young and fit, right? Is in good shape, but he was not balanced, right? And as a result, he had several different symptoms, but you can see afterwards how just straightening up, obviously, that's putting a lot less stress on his body. The lady on the right, same thing, look how much younger she looks, honestly, after making some changes with her posture. And she was really active too, but had pain that was starting to hold her back from being able to hike and do things she liked. But she's now able to do all those things just because she's in a better position. Her body's more capable of doing that stuff now.
Yeah, and when even looking at her side views, you can look at like her rounded tummy there, how it's kind of pooched, and her chest is, sagging down further because her shoulders are slumped forward, and she has kind of more of like a chin there that's hanging down. Like gravity is not as kind to you when you're out of alignment. But if you look at the after photo, look at she got almost looks like she got a tummy tuck, a chest lift, and a chin change. Like it changed a lot of things. She even has a little bit more, of a backside there with a curve in her spine. Like your fat, your adipose tissue in your body will actually shift as your posture changes. So because you're changing the posture and you're using the deep core muscles that fuel your metabolism and get the right muscles doing the right thing when you're even just basically walking and moving throughout your day and your life. So I think that's so cool that she just went in a few weeks from looking like this to a total body transformation and looking, 5 to 10 to 20 years younger in a lot of ways. You can see it.
You can see her hands too in the other picture. The palm is facing right towards her hip rather than kind of at a 45-degree angle or whatever.
Yeah, her shoulder position change is remarkable. Really.
Yeah, I mean, pretty dramatic, honestly.
Yeah.
So, it's great though, and that's honestly not atypical. Most people see results like this. So some are obviously more dramatic than others. It just kind of depends on where you're starting at, of course. But yeah, Patrick says more symmetry, more lumbar curve, referring to her. Yep. So
And maybe her like maybe her restful leisure things where maybe she sits and reads, or she had a job where she sat quite a lot but then she was active as well. Even though she was active, maybe hour a day, maybe it didn't stack up to how many hours she was sitting in a chair, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours in a chair at a job is going to create that posture for her, that rounding forward, the tuck of the pelvis, the push, of the belly forward, and the bend of the knees. But when she intervened with some realignment exercises, it helped, get rid of that old habit, that old posture from those old ways of being, maybe during her working years, or the things that she did for leisure that could have created those habits from the past.
okay, tip number 3: quality over quantity. What do we mean by that, Kelly?
Yeah, right. So we saw all those straight lines and right angles, and that's always such a great snapshot to look at. Like, well, how do we shape up and how do we compare to Function Freddy, right? And I like to use Function Freddy as an example of like what we're working towards. But I always tell people I've actually never met anyone who looks like that because we don't live in a bubble, right? Like we're all living our life and creating imbalances and compensations like all day long. And then we've also got our accidents and our injuries and the things we were born with and da da da, right? The list goes on. So and our society is not necessarily set up for positive posture stimulus 24/7, right? So consciously we have to create that in our lifestyle on a consistent basis to combat like sitting. Sitting's the new smoking. We say that all the time. So we're really using those straight lines and those right angles as a way to look at like, okay, how has our posture deviated over time? And then when we do our exercises, how can we recreate those straight lines and right angles? I think one of my favorite props in Egoscue is just that 6-inch pillow that we use for like knee pillow squeezes. Zach, if you can hold that up for me, that would be great. Or a yoga block. If you don't have the blocks, you know, those yoga blocks, they're 4 inches on one side and 6 inches on the other. And those are so great to use as tools, because whenever you're doing Egoscue exercises and your feet are flat on the ground, you want your feet to be hip width parallel, straight. You can literally put that 6-inch pillow between your feet and use it as a tool and as a guide to make sure that you're foolproof, right? That you've got your feet in the right position and you're creating that straight line and right angle for your body. And so anytime you're doing your exercises and you're looking at your sheets, you've got your pictures, you've got your descriptions, you've got your videos. If you have the email version, or you don't forget about the free app on your phone that you can download, the Egoscue app, it will have pictures, descriptions, and videos loaded for you, you know, wherever you go, whatever you do. All your programs will be loaded on there from your therapist and your individual appointments. But when you're looking at those pictures, you know, wherever you see that you can create a right angle or a straight line, you want to do so, because you're going to get your deep core posture muscles that work on those right angles and straight lines to fire and function. And you're going to, your exercises are going to be a lot more effective when you do them in right angles and straight lines, versus just, you know, not being present, not being mindful, just kind of going through them haphazardly because you're, you know, beating the clock, right? It's better if you just slow down, take the time, only do a few exercises with quality, and in the right positions, than just kind of rush through them to get through them because you've got to go on to the next thing. You know, taking your time and feeling through them and making sure that when you're doing your exercises, you're balancing the right and the left side. Like even if you're just doing knee pillow squeezes, or like we can do this right now together, just a tiny little thing, like shoulder squeezes, scapular contractions, where you just squeeze your shoulder blades together and down, right? And you're just working on trying to get symmetry, both sides working at the same time, moving in the same way, you know, getting that feedback from your body. And that's so important to get that quality over, hey, I'm just going to do 50 reps and then be done, right? No. Slow down, back up, get mindful, get present, create the straight lines and the right angles, feel in, what's my right side doing? What's my left side doing? Are they equal? Are they even doing the same things? Get that feedback. Yeah. And then know that, you know, doing 100 of them isn't always going to make things better quicker, get you out of pain quicker. And that you can do your exercises throughout the day. Like if you have certain ones that you really like and make a huge difference for your body, take those out singly out of your list from beginning to end, 1 through 10, and do them a few times throughout the day. Give yourself the relief with those as you need them, and carry those ones that you really like with you through the weeks as you work with your therapist.
So I'll take everybody through maybe just 2 quick, I know we're running short on time here, but I want to just give you guys a way to feel this as some things that we look for when we do exercises. So I'll just pick 2 exercises that we can all do here relatively quickly, but so we'll need to stand up. So everybody stand up, and let's start at the bottom. So looking down at your feet. If Kelly, you want to show angle down, can we see your feet? I'm kind of.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when we talk about the feet being straight, what that means is really the middle of your feet. Since they're wider at the front, you know, we don't look at we kind of look at the second and third toes. Imagine straight lines on the middle of your feet from the center of your heel to the center of the front of your foot. Those should point straight ahead. So for most of us, it's going to kind of feel a little pigeon-toed, or maybe even look a little pigeon-toed. And then, we usually get 1 to 2 fists distance between your big toes, between the ball of the foot there. So it's about 6 inches for most people. So that's the starting position for your feet. So now in your upper body, we're going to take your hands into what we call the golfer's grip. So fingers are straight, but then you just tuck them in. So that first joint is still straight. Your first knuckle, you're not closed in like this. It's open fist, basically. Your thumbs are out. You kind of create some tension there. So then we're gonna, let's just start with our hands down at our sides. I'll back up so you can see me a little better. So shoulders are going to be pulled back and down. So not in your ears, but pull them back and downward and kind of hold them there. And then raise your arms out to the side. So your thumbs are pointed forward, palms are flat. And now we're gonna make little circles with your arms. So follow the direction of your thumbs. You're circling forward. This one is one of the few that we do quickly. You want to go fast because, as you can feel, your body's bobbing or oscillating back and forth. You get a little movement in your spine. You might feel it all the way down into your feet, having to work a little bit. Keep going. Get a look at everybody here. Okay, nice job. So we usually do about 40 of those, but once again, quality is more important than quantity. So if you start to really fatigue or shoulders are aching and start to feel like you're tensing up your neck, then just stop, give it a little rest, shake it out. So let's take a quick break and we're going to do a second round. Everything's the same. Check your feet, make sure they're still straight. Same hand position, but your arms are going to go palms up. So your thumbs are pointed backwards. Okay. And then you're going to circle backwards. So reach up, back, down, like that. Okay, so let's do about 40 of those. Might be a little harder going this way because we're taking your arms into external rotation, which is kind of the opposite of what most people do, right? Being rounded forward.
Try to keep those ears over those shoulders, hips over the knees, knees over the ankles. Yep. Lock those elbows. Don't forget to breathe a little bit.
Good. Okay. Let's take a rest now. We'll do one more, and we're gonna stand. Let's use a wall for this. If you have one, you don't have to, but ideally, we like to use the wall for a lot of exercises because it gives us that vertical surface, and also
for straight, right? Your body.
Yeah.
It's not going to have a mold of what straight is. That function, Freddie, from the side view. That we showed earlier, you can achieve that just by standing with your back to the wall or laying flat on the floor.
Right. So we use the wall and the floor a lot. So if you have a wall nearby or a closed door, that works. Go stand with your back against it. Look down at your feet. Once again, same position as before, perfectly straight. And if you can, get your heels all the way to the wall. So at this point, your heels, your butt, your upper back, and ideally your head should be able to touch the wall pretty easily. If your head is really far forward to begin with, you might have a hard time reaching it, but just do your best. We're going to make that same grip with our hands that we did for the last one, golfer's grip, but now just put your knuckles on the side of your temples, so just behind your eyes. Yeah, and then keep that grip and just think of this as like a hinge on your forehead. So that, as you can see Kelly doing, you're going to bring your elbows in front and then back, and you're trying to touch the wall behind you, and then touching the elbows together in front of you. So just in and out. So this is obviously kind of a shoulder focused exercise or movement, but since you're doing it up against that wall and you're getting your shoulders over your hips, over your knees, over your ankles, you're also preventing your body from twisting. So make sure you feel both sides evenly on the wall. So it really helps reinforce that symmetry, balance.
You can practice your belly breathing here too. Inhale when you open, rise up that belly full of air. Exhale as you come together, slow it down and breathe, and just see how much quicker things release in your body and balance out just by doing the breathing work, the breath work with the arm work.
So let's take a step away from the wall now. Give your arms a break. Your shoulders are probably feeling a little warm, which is good. Let's reassess like we did earlier. So just maybe take a few steps in place, shake it out, and then stand still, relax, close your eyes if you need to focus on what you're feeling in your feet. Remember before, it sounded like some people were feeling on the outside edge. Someone was having a little hip pain. I felt like I was more heavy on my left. But check in with yourself now and see if anything feels different after doing those two exercises. Anybody feel anything different or feel a change?
I do for sure. I was on the outside edge of my right foot and on the inside edge of my left foot. And now I feel balanced and I feel like a curve and my shoulders back and my head feels centered over my feet. Yeah, feels great.
Nice. Patrick said no more on the outside. Awesome. So that's kind of crazy how all we did was a couple arm exercises and your feet feel different. How does that work, right? Well, it just shows how what you were feeling in your feet was really affected by everything above it, and especially your shoulders. Shelley says, no, the middle of more middle of the feet on both sides. So great, you were feeling more on the outside before, I think. So it's crazy how it just shows how that quality, right? We didn't do a ton, right? That took us a couple minutes, but just that quality movement and focusing on the proper position can have an immediate effect on your body and how balanced it is. And the reason you feel more balanced is because your posture is better. You know, if you were to go look in the mirror, you'd look a little bit straighter too. So
we took posture photos of you before and after those 2 exercises. They would be different and you would see the change because you already feel the change. I think that's such a great reminder that throughout the day, when you're working 6 to 8 hours at a day at a time, or you're having to sit, on an airplane traveling. I mean, when you get those little moments where you can take a break and just do even just these 2 exercises, it's going to make a huge difference over time in changing your posture and your function and making you feel better, having more oxygen, more energy, making you feel, lighter and being able to, get out there and do the things you need to do and live your active life. So don't discount just doing 2 exercises every now and again throughout the day. Sprinkle them throughout the day. Let's see, the last one here, we're actually 2 more real quick, but accountability and support. Like, with these exercises, you're creating a new lifestyle and a habit. And you have to kind of build a foolproof plan around that, looking at your day, looking at your week, looking and saying, well, where am I going to be able to do these exercises consistently and how am I going to make them a priority? And I like to make sure that you're sharing it with friends and family and coworkers, saying, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm changing things. And that way they're asking you, hey, how's that going? And have you done your exercises today? Or, you can even make, lists if you want to and check them off saying, I did these today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, your whole month. You can do a little Excel sheet if you want to. That's kind of above and beyond. If that's how you work, if you're just more of a visual person and you like to check those things off, great. But I think most importantly is like, I like the plan, the ABC and D plan, where like optimal, like I'm going to get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I'm going to do my exercises, right? That's your like plan A. Well, when plan A fails and you don't get up at 5 a.m. and you don't do your exercises before your day, what's your plan B? Plan B is I get up, I get moving, I have breakfast. But before I go out for the day to do anything else, I do my exercises maybe mid-morning, right? Plan C, if plan C falls apart and I don't get them done at 5 in the morning or at 10 before I go out, but then I come home and I do them before dinner, or plan B or C could be like, well, if I skip a day, then I'm going to do, double the next day, or I'm going to do a little longer time the second day. Like, make these commitments to yourself and keep yourself accountable, keep the promises to yourself, but negotiate within your mind what is your minimum? Like, how many days of the week do you actually want to get them done? And then create a structure around that so that you're going to get them done with friends and coworkers and family members, with plans. During the day, you're going to get it done at A time, B time, C time, D time. Right before you go to bed, hey, that's my quietest time when my kids are down and I have time. Like, great, do them then, go to bed, right? Like, come up with those foolproof plans to keep you accountable and consistent and feeling your best, right? It doesn't have to look a certain way. You really just want to, feel the results and give yourself the tools when you need them and how you need them to make yourself feel better at any given time. Like, suffering is optional. Remember that.
Definitely helps having, that social support too. If some people are really good doing things on their own, but if you need like an accountability buddy or, friends to do it with, whatever works for you, right? But I think it really helps having, your family or whoever you spend the most time with on board and supporting you in it makes a huge difference, than just trying to do everything on your own. So,
Yeah, I have a lot of couples or families who, at night when they relax together and watch TV or just let down for the night after a long day, they lay on the floor and that's when they do their exercises rather than sitting on the couch. They're down on the ground doing their stuff. They're still in the mix and they're still with the family. But, the family kind of gets used to that as part of the routine. And some people like to go, okay, I like to go to the gym at this certain time and I like to do my exercises at the gym before I work out because it's a space, it's a place, it's a time I've created, right? Or a space in your house where you have all the equipment, right? You have your blocks, you've got your squares, you've got your towers, you have your slant boards, and you're confident and comfortable replicating what you did in your appointment with your therapist at home on your own. I think that's super important to account. You're not going to be accountable if you don't feel confident and comfortable at home. And so making sure that you have all the things that you need to be confident and comfortable at home. And then again, like Zach said, help others help you, help them help you stay accountable. And when you're falling off the horse and you need to get back on in the wagon, like reach out to those support systems, including us, like we're here to help you stay accountable. We want you to feel better. We want you to have the results and the success, and we want you to have the active lifestyle that you want. And so giving a call or emailing your therapist at any time saying, hey, I need to come in, I need to review my menu, I need to get a new menu, those types of things, right? Which leads us right into, change is constant.
yeah,
Constantly. Sorry, what are you going to say, Zach?
yeah. Well, I was just going to say that's a good segue into the last tip, which is, well, how do you know when you need to change something or get new exercises or maybe change, whatever, if you're having troubles, obviously we're here to help, but we're here to help get you started and to keep you going and to keep you accountable in the long run. But the important thing is your body's always adapting and it's always changing. So you can't really expect to do the same thing over and over again forever and have something change, right? Like you're going to just maintain at whatever level you're doing, which could be a good thing, if you feel like everything's going great and your exercises are working well, awesome, keep doing it. But there's kind of three main reasons that we tell people that you would definitely want to make a change, whether it's new exercises or just changing how you're doing them. So the three there, the first one is if things just feel too easy or you feel like you've plateaued, meaning you're not making progress anymore, like exercises, you can do them all well, they're not challenging you anymore. So your body's not adapting, it's not changing anymore, it's just maintaining. Or maybe you feel like you still have, your pain's gotten better, but you're at like 90% better and you just can't get that last 10%, maybe something needs to change to get you past that plateau. Or if something new happens, life changes, accidents happen. Maybe as your body's changing and you fix one area, you start to notice, oh, now I'm starting to feel this old soccer injury I had and I had totally forgot about because I'm actually putting weight on my right leg now that I used to be avoiding, So sometimes new pains will come up. And so that's a time to reassess and maybe change our focus with the exercises, make sure you're addressing what you need to. Or you may have a new goal, maybe at the beginning, your goal was just to be able to not be in constant back pain anymore. You couldn't really think about anything else, right? Your back was the main focus. And now that that's feeling better, you realize, hey, I actually want to be able to start going back to the gym, but I'm not really sure I can. Or last time I went to the gym, I hurt myself. So, you have a new goal now. And so those things are always changing. And so as they change, we're here. That's, most of what Kelly and my job is to help you reach those goals.
And go through those transitions
Yeah.
that your body's going through. And sometimes when you're in the forest, you can't see the trees. Well, we're outside of the forest and we're looking in at the trees, and we see things a little differently because we're not in your body all the time and we're not experiencing what you're experiencing. So we're going to have different feedback, different insight, to help you, kind of make those transitions from one menu to the other, one goal to the other. And you're going to peel those layers of compensation and dysfunction over time. And it's a process. So, we're here to guide you and help you through those processes of transformation of your body and peeling those layers and getting to the next level.
Yeah. So that's a lot of times people ask the question, well, how long do I need to do this? And when, like how many sessions do I need to do? Well, obviously everybody's different, but hopefully our goal is to help you, like I said, get out of pain is usually the first goal. Most people come to us because of pain. Then we want to make sure that you continue to reach your goals as they change. And so that's going to take more than 1 or 2 sessions for most people, right? Which is why we have packages. And so in the beginning, when you're in a lot of pain and you're brand new to this, you may need to see us more often. We typically see people once a week at first, but then we see them less often the more independent they get. And eventually, we have clients who've been coming to us for years and they're not in pain anymore, but they still come back for those 3 reasons we talked about. Something changes, or maybe they just need the accountability. Knowing that they're going to be coming in and seeing us and gives them incentive to not slack off. It's kind of like going to the dentist. You want to go on a regular basis just to make sure you catch things before they get bad and make sure you're, doing your flossing and brushing and get that, that check-in. And it's kind of the same here. So we want to help you do this on your own, but we also want to help make sure that you continue to be successful. So as a thank you for attending this class, we're offering up to 2 free bonus sessions. So, we have an 8 and a 16 session package. And so with the 8, you would same normal price, but you would get a 9th session for free. And with the 16 session package, you would get 2 extra sessions. So it's 18 for the price of the normal 16. And those are for you to use for yourself, or it could be a great way if you feel like there's someone else in your life that that could use the help, and you can give that as a gift too, and give that bonus session to someone else who maybe needs it more than you. So there's our contact info. But I think that's all we had. So we can open it up now for questions. Yeah, I know it was a lot we talked about, but anybody have any questions regarding anything about Egoscue or pain, posture, performance? Now's the chance. Okay. Guess we must have just covered it perfectly, Kelly. So any questions?
Yeah. I've got this, Jim. I've got one question. My sister-in-law has severe sciatica, and I've been talking to her about Egoscue for several months. And in essence, I know there is a mini series that you did on Egoscue. Is there a way? I did send a note to Martin this morning to see if I could get a copy of the mini session like you do today for her.
Yeah.
And to kind of kick her, to get her to do something. She just taking pain medication and sitting on the couch. And I said, she's got to move. So I've already sent a note to Martin to ask him to see if he could send me a copy of that.
Yeah. Did we do one specifically about sciatica?
I think we did back, if you look back.
Okay.
I think there's one about hip pain or sciatica.
Yeah.
And all of those are posted on the YouTube, Egoscue Seattle YouTube or Egoscue Portland YouTube channel. So you can go and just copy that link and send it to her via email.
Okay. Thanks,
But
Kelly.
I mean, most importantly, like if she has personal questions about her personal situation and she wants to talk to someone one-on-one and just really get those questions answered, have her reach out, have her call us, if you feel like she'd, want to talk to someone.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
Yeah. I mean, the first step is really hard, making that call, taking that step. especially when you don't have a lot of trust or you're afraid, you've been in pain for a long time, you tried lots of things. Sometimes making that call is just, and feeling like you're going to be let down again is like, oh, it's a hard thing to do. So just keep supporting her or whoever it is in your life to not give up hope. Don't give up hope, because if you have muscles, your body can change. And if you have sciatica or any pain, it's just a reminder that your body's out of alignment, and it's crying out for something to shift and change. And trust me, it's the posture. It's the alignment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So I hope that helps, and feel free to say, hey, Kelly is so willing to talk to you. Just give her a call. You can even give her my personal email, kelly@egoscue.com, or she can call the office and I'll call her back.
Yeah, we'll send send out that video. But yeah, you should, if you go to YouTube and search Egoscue Seattle, you'll see these recordings of all the previous sessions we've done. So
Sherry had a really good question too. I don't know if you want to tackle that.
yeah, I was gonna just answer that. Shelly was asking, how much time per day do you need to set aside to stay current or in line? And like we were saying, obviously it's kind of dependent on the person. So it depends, I know is a big answer, but I would say on average, I don't know, Kelly, maybe this is what I see is most of my clients probably spend like a half hour a day at minimum.
Yeah, and that might be 15 in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, or 30 altogether, or they sprinkle it throughout the day. I have a high powered people who are working, 78 hours a week, and they can't devote 30 minutes all at once. So they're doing certain things throughout the day to keep them busy as they're preparing for trials and, all kinds of things. So yeah, you just have to make it work for you. And I think the most important thing is that you keep moving. Movement is key. And doing the right movements for you that will shift your posture are the ones that are going to make the difference, not just stretching to stretch, or, you know what I mean? Stretching to stretch is great, but it can make, they're kind of feely good, but it's not going to shift the posture to keep you in a more positive posture position, longer, to make you feel better longer. So it's important that you get those posture shifts with the exercises to feel better longer.
And it's going to depend on your lifestyle too. So people I work with who are like software engineers and they're on their computer like basically all the time, like
14 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need something different than someone who's on their feet all day and active, and so it just depends. But I would say, so I've got clients who spend at minimum maybe 10 minutes a day, and I've got clients who spend over an hour, so, and everything in between. Me personally, I do every morning before I work out at the gym, I do like probably takes me less than 10 minutes, a few Egoscue exercises, just kind of bare minimum, hits all the places I need that I know to function well. And then later on through the day, I'll just kind of do more as needed. If I've got some time on my lunch break or got some time during work, I'll get down on the floor, do a few things. Maybe at the end of the day, I'll do a few more things. So it just goes back to that being mindful. And like, I've done this long enough, I know what my body needs. And some days I may need more, some days I may not. So yeah, sorry to give such a broad, vague answer, but I would say most people should expect, at least new clients should expect, about a half hour a day commitment is pretty typical. So
the first step is starting that dialogue with your body, like checking in with your posture, getting, seeing that therapist and finding out, well, what is your body needing and how is your posture related? And, once you start that dialogue in that first session with your body, then your body actually answers that question for you. It'll tell you exactly how many to do and how long.
Yeah, you just got to listen.
Yep, just got to understand what it's trying to say. That's what we're here to help you figure out.
Any other questions? Thanks for the feedback or the interaction, guys. We usually have a bigger crowd, but I kind of like the smaller smaller group, it's nice to be able to feel like a dialogue and we're not just talking to a big audience. So, well, we'll send this recording out, so you can feel free to share it if there's other people you know that could benefit, and reach out to one of Kelly or I if you have more questions or if you'd like to schedule a session or evaluation. Happy to help. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye, Patrick.